Good evening and warm welcome to all of you to the first episode of MANTHAN, the bite-sized learning. So, welcome all of you to the session, and it's a wonderful opportunity for me to start this session as a moderator. So, thank you so much for being part of it. And I would like to introduce our guests today and welcome Ajay Sahuji. And we have two panelists out here. One is Deepak Baraji, and we have Ashish Sarangi. So, talking about Deepak Baraji, he has been a wonderful, guide to me. He is a wonderful person, and he has spent more than 43 years in the L&D space. So he's been part of various organizations at HR level and at various capacities. And right now, he's an HR consultant. So, welcome to the session. It's an honor to have you here. And then we have Ashish Sargiji. He has spent almost 18 years in the L&D space, and he is, has been awarded as the best young trainer from ISTD. So welcome to the session, and I'll straight away jump to the agenda, right? So as we know that there are a lot of changes that have happened in the L&D space, specifically post-pandemic era. So when we talk about the digital and technological advances that have happened, the kind of hybrid work environment they were working in, and the focus on self-learning has actually shifted from the corporate-led learning. So and when you talk about the attention span, that has reduced drastically. So we'll be covering various aspects, right from what is the areas of focus in terms of L&D, and what is required to be done, and what are the competencies that are required. We'll be discussing all these things. So so as we progress, we'll definitely cover these things. And apart from that, I would like to ask Deepak ji a very very, very dear question which I have in my mind. So Deepak ji would like to get the answer from you for that particular thing, right? So the first question for you today is that, what kind of competencies are required for L&D professional?
Putting us together. Okay, you said what is the kind of competencies which is required. I think whatever the competencies we had in the past is not going to work. I think that was the past and it has gone with the past. What we are looking forward to for tomorrow, that is the future, is more of a positive attitude. As an L&D professional, we need to be having a positive attitude, keeping in view the lot of uncertainties around. We have to have a positive mindset and a growth mindset.
Right.
We need to have an agility. We need to have an agility and more so the adaptability. Adapting to each and every kind of environment or the culture where we are operating in. And effective communication is very, very required for the L&D professional, especially listening to the learners, what the learners are saying. Because if we don't listen to them, we don't have any right to be existent around. And achievement drive, कुछ ना कुछ करने की कोशिश, एक जुझारूपन, कुछ करना है. जब तक वो नहीं होगा, unless and until we are passionate about, we are not going to succeed. And another important element which we need to learn as a competence is the prioritization. How do we prioritize the needs? Every day the needs are changing. And we need to understand how to prioritize. And apart from that, a lot of data is flowing in. How to make the use of that data, big data, and making the information relevant to my context, and try to analyze that data and make it useful for my own day-to-day learning. That is another important competency or the skill set which I need to have. And another thing which is important is digital knowledge and having an understanding of how the digital world operates, especially when we are handling the media, when we're talking about extended reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, and all kind of new digital world, wherein we need to have a bite-sized learnings, and we need to have micro learnings, short films, to make it more relevant and contextual. I think unless until we have these kind of competencies, we are not going to see the future as an L&D professional.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. Thank you so much for your input. And I would like Ashish also to put some light on this. So Ashish ji, over to you.
Thank you so much. Very well elaborated by Deepak ji. I'll keep it very short. So when we talk about the competencies required by a L&D professional, I will count them as three. The very first one is the ability to diagnose. The second one is the ability to adapt. The third one is the ability to communicate, which is mentioned by Deepak ji as well. So when I say the ability to diagnose, so when we talk about L&D in the space of professional network or corporates, so everybody has a different takeoff level. So first, designing a training need analysis in such a manner so that I can perfectly gauge what are the various takeoff levels of my audience. Second is designing a content in such a manner so that I'm able to address everyone's need. So that is where I say adapting. So not all my learners will require a training, which is knowledge transfer. Not all my learners would require coaching. Not all my learners would require mentoring. So there may be a workforce which is present, which is 10 years experience, but is not committed towards work. So they need more of counseling. So mentoring would be required, not necessarily a training, because they would be pro in any kind of task they would be doing. Some of the learners, they would be some experience, they would have some experience, but somehow they are not operating at an advanced level. So they would require some kind of hand holding, which is coaching. Right. And the new joiners who are new into the workforce, they would require a lot of awareness training, maybe related to process, maybe related to the task they are required to do. Now, the third one, which I talked about, is communication. So very well mentioned by Deepak ji. So it's very important for a trainer to listen to his audience, right. But it is for him to decide when to listen and when not to listen. So when he is 100% sure that my learner has a takeoff level at 0, he should do more of instructions, what the learner is required to do. And when the person is experienced and still not taking initiative and still not delivering at 100%, at that point of time, maybe he is required to do more of listening to understand what are the challenges, to understand why he is not taking initiative. So these three competencies are very important when we are talking about L&D professional who would be able to address the future learning needs.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for your inputs, Ashishji. Thank you so much. So, coming to the next thing, the understanding what all lacunas and gap areas are. So, how has the L&D survived till date? So that's my next question, to Deepak ji.
I think we have survived because we have plenty of time up to our sleeves, and organizations were also having a lot of certainties in terms of mid-term, short-term, long-term, and we have survived very comfortably. I don't think we have gone for the normal traditional role of doing the TNA from the PMS, and then we had identified certain programs and we have designed the calendar and we designed certain interventions over a period of 1 year. I don't know how much relevant and result oriented these could be, but yes, we have met the budgets. The allocated budgets were being exhausted, but deliverable outcomes, our ROI was always a question mark on these trainings. But we survived because as L&D as a function is required to have a branding for the organization. So we were very, very comfortable. I think the challenge is now for the future. The future challenge is much among us as compared to the past. Past has already gone. Let's not try to do the postmortem. What is important is the future. Yeah. Because as you said, the technology and digital advancement has happened. Right. The change of technology has been so fast that people have to adapt to that, and until they adapt to the new technology or the new digital world, they are not going to survive and look for the future. Because jobs, each and every job is requiring that digital understanding and knowledge. Hybrid working environment is another challenge. Most of the people are still operating from the remote place or the home, from the home or anywhere, any place, anytime kind of environment. So how do we integrate? That is also a major challenge. And when we do the training. Earlier, we had 30 odd people being nominated by the HODs, and they are all put together in one room, and the class learnings happens. But in today's environment, when people are at a remote location, how do I integrate? That's another important challenge. Another thing is, now everybody is focused on self-learning. They say my learning, my choice, my time, my take. So who the hell you are to educate me? No more corporate focused learning. Everybody is talking about self-learning at my time, my place. So we have to make sure that we educate them to that this is important element, and they have to take care if they have to sustain for the future. And another important thing is attention span has gone down very drastically. The screen time has gone up, but attention span has come down. So that's another dilemma we are facing in. But the important thing is how to make the content relevant, how to make the content so engaging that they draw the attention. And it should be short, bite-sized learning for the future, short and micro learnings, video films, which should be good in content and also retain the attention of the people.
So you're trying
And
to say
flexibility.
so you're trying to say
Yeah.
that the kind of learning that we had in the past, for the whole
Has
day,
no,
sometimes
no
for the whole
meaning,
week.
no meaning. It's a zero. It's a zero. And lastly, flexibility is the key.
Yeah.
Unless and until we are flexible enough, we are not going to survive for the future. So future is more important for me. Past is gone.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But yes, we survived. We
Yes.
survived. We were very comfortable.
Absolutely. And if we don't forget the changes that has come up because of pandemic, that was something that all of us have adapted to, and that's why we all have.
Absolutely.
Right. So I would like to hear from Ashish ji as well. Your insights, because the kind of learnings that you had from the past. What are the gap areas that have existed in the past, and what is it you're learning for the future?
Thank you so much. So when we talk about how has the L&D survived till date, so I would like to thank all the teachers, all the trainers, all the speakers, good speakers, motivational speakers, some trainers, coaches. It's because of their effort it has survived till date. But yes, the progress has been slow, but yes, it has been a major one. When I look back 17 years back, when I started in this field of learning and development, people would not know, in India at least, I'm talking about, they would not know what is this learning and development, what is this training. They, they would not understand. They would ask, okay, what is soft skills? What is behavioral training? They had no idea. When I say they had no idea, I'm talking about people in working in corporates also. They would know induction training, but they would know, okay, what is training and development? But if I talk today, 2023, even an 8-year-old can talk at length what soft skills is all about or what behavioral training is all about. So yes, there are some lacunas. Yes, there are some drawbacks. But yes, L&D is set to grow. So some 10 years back, people used to talk about that e-learning will take over. Surely the e-learning has come its own way. But yes, it has not taken over physical training or a trainer's space. Trainers are very much required because that human touch is still what people are looking for, right? So yes, it has survived and it will grow as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ashish ji. I agree with you because, e-learning space is something that was a concept which everyone was threatened of, that people used to say that e-learning will actually take over and the trainers will no more be required. But the personal touch, the human touch is always required. Absolutely, bang on. So thanks for addressing that. And now I would like to address the question for the future, as in, with the pandemic, if we see post-pandemic, L&D has gone virtual and things have progressed towards hybrid. And now, my major question is that where do you see what is the scope in its future and what is the potential of surviving it another pandemic like situation? Over to Deepalji.
Okay. I think for the future or the post-pandemic, the focus of learning is more often a job-based skilling. What kind of the job the individual is going to have, and what kind of skill sets are required for that particular job is important for the survival and sustenance of any individual going forward. And upskilling of the efforts. Upskilling efforts need to be done. Reskilling, upskilling, relearning need to be done. And then social inclusion and diversity is also very, very important, because unless until we network, because no more collaboration, one place, one team is there, we are all integrate. We need to integrate because everybody is at a different locations. So we need to have a more focused on social inclusion and diversity, and preference-based learning. What is my preference? I think I'm not going to get dictated. What is my preference-based learning? That is important. And the blended learning.
Right.
Blended learning is all mix of all. What is going to make me relevant and contextual to deal with my jobs, or to deal with my career progression, or to deal with my growth in the overall perspective. And can I be more, employability? Can I enhance that rather than just staying with one organization? Can I improve my employability?
Absolutely.
So those kind of learnings are going to be in focus.
Right. Even the competency development is something which is, very much required.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Thank you. Thank you, Deepakji. Over to you, Ashish.
Yeah, thank you so much. So when we talk about pandemic, yes, the L&D space did survive the pandemic. In fact, if digital learning had to take over, it would have taken over at that point of time, in spite of Udemy being present, in spite of Coursera being present. Yes, people asked for these training programs where people would log into WebEx or Zoom and will come for a training program. Even if there is again one more pandemic kind of a situation, L&D will surely survive. Yes, the kind of trainings and the kind of topic or the competencies that we are addressing, they may change. Like if a pandemic once again strikes and people are confined to their home or just to one place, we may have a requirement like where training is being done on happiness, where training is being done on mental health. See, mental health is one thing which I had never heard of in entire of my life. It is a new word I came across in just last 2 years. People are taking leaves for the same.
Right.
So topic like handling difficult conversations, right? So in office space, you can sit across the table and talk with people, but virtually, how do you manage these interactions? Working with remote team. So maybe we will not be delivering a training program on team building, but how do you work with remote teams? How do you manage? How do you achieve your tasks? So the topics would change, training would still be there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when we, yeah, Deepakji, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely in line with the Ashish. What Ashish said is going to be the future.
Absolutely. And also, we have heard of the metaverse, the learning in the metaverse. So, when we see the kind of changes that has come, even people are buying plots in the metaverse, they're buying properties in metaverse, they are investing in, even Facebook has changed their name to Meta. Right, so that's the kind of input that has been, that's there, and people are their perspective is changing. They are going for avatars. So in metaverse, what happens is people go for avatars. They can select whatever avatar they want to, right? And similarly, if we go for training and development, what is the kind of training that will happen in the future? So we have to look forward for making such kind of efforts in dealing with such situations. Yeah. So thank you so much, Ashishji. Thank you so much for that. And the next question that I would like to ask is, what are the key drivers for L&D in future, and why do we need them? Deepakji.
Okay. Thank you, Lin. So the key drivers primarily going to be the six, if I talk about. The first and foremost, the mega driver will be the information processing. A lot of data is going to inflow from various corners, and it's going to be in plenty, and we have to make use of that data. So information processing and availability of the relevant data is required as a first mega driver to make the training or L&D useful. And where we can take the support of the technology, whether it's an AI, whether it's in a machine learning, or whether it's we can all kind of realities, virtual realities. We have to make the relevant data relevant, information relevant for the learning and development. Second driver will be the network. Network has become dominant organization principle in remote learning culture, especially when the people are disintegrated at different locations. So how do we network? How do we integrate them together as a one team? We are talking about questioning the culture of the organization. How do we really sustain the culture of the organization when people are not even walking to the place and everybody is at a remote location? So those kind of challenges are going to be there. Then work has become human centered. As of today, every work is now human centered and the degrees are no more relevant today. It's job specific. What kind of jobs are required, what kind of skill sets are required, degrees are no more relevant. So in that kind of thing, work is now getting more human centered. Corporate learning is now reaching an expanded pool of people. There's so much of dearth of people are available around the globe. No more boundaries that I'm not limiting to region or I'm not limiting to industry. Now the people are available and the gig employees are also joining in to work on a specific projects. So how do I make relevant? That's going to be another driver to make the learning and development more useful so that my people are ready to succeed in the respective jobs. And lastly, digital aspect of the all blended learning under one digital roof is also going to be the driver. How do I integrate all my learning into digital basket so that I can disseminate the learning all across on a consistent basis with a common thread pool? So that's another element which I need to look at. So these are the drivers going to be.
Wonderful. Thank you, Deepakji. Ashish.
And last, making learning contextual and as well as experience learning. I think going forward, how to create a positive experience of the learning is going to have a greater impact. That is going to be the driver.
Right. Being experiential learning is something that will drive us, right? Thank you so much, Deepakji. Yeah, Ashishji.
Yeah, thank you. So when I talk about the drivers, so how do I see it? I see it as wherever we are able to engage the audience, we will be able to drive the L&D. So in last 6 months, I can quote you examples where people with the organizational strength where more than 1 lakh employees are there. The question was, Ashish, post-pandemic, we are not able to bring the people to our office. Let me not talk about L&D. If we talk about training, they will completely get switched off. So my first task is to bring them to office. People are not ready to come to office. They wish to work from home. So with this kind of a scenario, now what will bring the audience into the classroom or into a training program is driving a message or giving a message what's in it for them. If the audience is able to get this message right, they will come. I'll speak about one more thing, which is task-based training. So maybe a IT guy who is working in a very good multinational, giving a training on email writing, he may not be excited. He will not come. He will not log into your LMS as well. No matter how good it is or how much, to what extent you have gamified it, the person will not log into the system. What will help him log into the system is if he finds it will make my job easier. Like, let me quote a very simple example of a security guard in a restaurant or a security guard at an airport. So when a training program is delivered for this security guard, normally people will train them on doing a namaste, doing a hello, being well dressed, shaving on a daily basis. Please understand, a security guard may not be able to sustain with his kind of a salary every day grooming up in a nice manner. But what is the main purpose? Why do I hire a security guard? I hire a security guard to ensure that my area is secured. Is he being given any training on it? He is hired so that he only authorizes people who have the right to enter that particular premises.
Right.
When I do trainings on these aspects, the security guard also feels enabled. He also gets a sense of satisfaction that, okay, I'm able to do my task better. And eventually, when he keeps his doing task better, he gets a organic growth automatically. Nobody is required to give him a growth, he automatically gets, right?
Right.
So that is what is the way future. So driving in, what's in it for them? If we are able to, just one last question. If people can see I am changing,
Hmm.
so how you can achieve that? That is by arranging refresher courses for them.
Right.
So initially there may be a resistance when I go through a training program and again I am being asked to come back for a refresher in 7 days. I may resist.
Right.
But I can quote example of my organization where people have started complaining that it's been 25 days, my refresher has not been done. It's been due more than 10 days. So when people go through a refresher, they find the value in it. They find the value in reflecting back on the topic. They visualize how it will help them at the workplace. And when they get value, they start complaining that I have not been trained. Please train me.
Right. So thank you so much, Ashish ji and Deepak ji. And in the interest of time, I'll come quickly to the, I'll not waste some more time. What I'll do is I'll open the this segment for the audience. If someone wants to ask anything, they can definitely write down a question, right? Meanwhile, they are writing down the question. The last question, quickly, I would like to ask Deepak ji, what do you see L&D as a profession? How do you see L&D as a profession 10 years down the line? Quickly, just in a minute.
I think L&D is very, very important function, and it is going to sustain. And this is the backbone of any organization for three reasons. One is that it can have a capability to change the workplace.
Right.
Learning and development can change the workplace, and it can help to promote the progressive and positive work culture. Second thing is it promotes the innovation. And L&D, if really penetrated and get focus, it can generate a lot of new mindsets and the new innovations to take place in the organization. And it also going to help learning the technology, because technology for most of us is in a Hawa as of today. How do I really make it simple and straightforward? Because even the technology has been created by the human beings only. So it is livable, it is leverageable, and we can adapt to the new technology. And even in a 4 years boy is using the mobile phone as of now, and even a 88 years old lady is also on a Zoom meeting with his grandsons and grandnathis. So that's in the power of a technology to get connected, but we have to make them see the relevance of it. That is going to be the future.
Right.
And important thing, which is very, very important, is whatever the learnings we are going to deliver, I think it has to be on demand basis.
Right. Thank you
We
so much.
cannot push.
Thank you so
We
much.
cannot push.
I'll have to cut you short here because of the time constraint that we have. And before I ask anything else, or I tell you something, I would like to introduce a new members who have joined ISTD. We have
Oh,
4 members who have joined ISTD in the month of December, and in the month of November we have got 66 people who have joined as life members. So I would like to introduce their name. So the first person who has, that I would like to introduce is Narayan Singh. He is from Jaipur Institute of Management. He is the training development personnel there. And then we have Sakshi Gupta, who's assistant professor of Maharaj Agrasen College. She's also joined our ISTD as a life member. And we have one of the most experienced member, Neha Sast. She has also joined. And we have Amit Parinja, who was director for Tata Communications for Global L&D. So he has also joined. So a warm welcome to all of them. And Anubha, would you like to add something?
welcome to all members here. That's important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
Anubha. Over to you.
Thank you so much. I think a very insightful session, Deepak sir and Ashish. I think I'll just put it one very interesting insight I got to know. Pre-pandemic, the screen time was 9 minutes. During pandemic, it went up to 55 minutes, and now it has come down to 45 minutes. I think we all, as an L&D professional, somewhere or the other, needs to pull up our socks to ensure that how we can retain the screen time of the people and bring them the learning at the great pace. So thank you so much, Linsu, for sharing this, and all to you, Linsu.
Thank you. Thank you, Anuba. And I would like to thank all of you. Specifically, I would like to thank Deepak ji and Ashish ji for their valuable insights. And thank you so
Thank you.
much. So it's a wonderful session, Kanna. You know, the kind of insights that you have given, I hope it was very much wonderful for each one of you. I'm getting so many messages, thank you for the wonderful session by Parag and various other people are also putting in. So thank you so much. And as the time is up, so I don't want to extend it further. As we said, 30 minutes bite-sized learning session. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you for being here and see you in
Thank
the next
you.
session. And before we log out, just let me tell you, there is a picnic that is lined up for ISTD, and that is going to happen in the month of February, right? So the dates, everything will be disclosed to you, right? So please ensure that you join that picnic and keep this family going ahead. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Take care. Good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.